Hello again guys, this is another video from Top Table Wargaming. It's just a short video just to basically show some of the things that you'd need to hand to create some successful scenery projects. Obviously these are not, you don't need them, you could do them without, but I'd say to get the best effects from your modelling and terrain building, if you have these to hand, it just makes life a lot easier, and I think you can get a lot better finish. So without further ado, we'll jump straight in. I'll start off with some of the materials you may use as your modelling materials or your bases. Foam being the main one. There's different types of foam, as you can see here. I'll start here. This is a foam card, which is basically a layer of paper with a nice high density foam centre and then another piece of paper on the other side. It's really good for getting a nice smooth finish. You know, you could use it for different things. I use it a lot for basing and also to add a little bit of strength to walls of buildings. As an example, I'm building some Rohan houses at the minute, and what I tend to do on some of them, it's a lot of wood and plank based walls, which you can make out of balsa wood, which is fine, you can just use balsa wood, but on certain occasions it's very fragile. So what I'll tend to do is I'll use some foam card as the wall base, and then I'll stick my planks to it, so you will never see the foam card. It just adds a little bit of strength to the wall, so there'll be planks stuck inside and out. That's just an example of how I use it, but it is very versatile. It's nice and strong, and you should go through tons of this. You can get different thicknesses. This is a 5mm. It does go up in different thicknesses, and I think there is a thinner one. I've not tried a thinner one yet. I don't think it's been out that long, but I will be getting my hands on it. So yeah, that's the foam card. Very useful. You need that. Onto the foams. Now, these are polystyrene foams. They're a high density polystyrene, which basically means, high density means there's more foam per say square inch than there would be in a low density, where there'd be a lot of, the air bubbles would be bigger, it'd be more air than foam. Again, you can get different density foams. The one with the smallest bubbles in is your best bet, because you get a neater finish. If it's got bubbles in, or it's like the packaging type polystyrene where it comes off in little balls that are all stuck together, it is usable, and there is times when you can use it. I tend to stay clear of it unless I'm really desperate and I don't have anything else to hand, but it's just too messy, and it's not really that strong. Because it's loads of smaller parts stuck together, it can have a lot of weak spots and can fall apart. This is your best bet. Yeah, so you get just different colours. The blue foam is actually slightly more dense than the pink foam, not massively. The pink foam's great for big base structures, like if you're doing rock faces or hills. This is ideal. It is actually, it's not made for modelling. It is insulating foam. Now luckily for me, I work in the building industry, so this stuff comes readily available. You know, I have offcuts from jobs and I pick it up here, there and everywhere. I'm at Builder's Yard and I can go past the skip and I see lumps of it in the skip, but you know, I tend just to say, alright, ever just take that, and I do have quite a lot of it lying around, which is lucky for me. I know there's been a few people on the Facebook page who were asking where can you get it from. Any Builder's Yard, B&Q probably do it, Homebase, places like that. Your named companies like B&Q and Homebase and Wix, etc., they're going to be more expensive. If you've got a local Builder's Yard near to where you live or where you work or where you go to school, pop in there and ask. I'd say 9 times out of 10, if you only want a little bit, they'll probably give you some. They just ask for a sample. If you want to buy it in bigger sheets, you can do. eBay's probably your second port of call that I'd go to, because it's slightly cheaper than your B&Qs and Wixes, but again it's quite expensive. And this stuff comes in varying sizes. This is a 10mm. Now, from what I can make out, I think the 10mm is quite hard to come by. There's a certain place where I'm able to pick this stuff up quite easily for me. But if you look around, if you Google it, you will find places that do it. and then it goes up to 10 mil. I think it goes in increments of 5 mil, so it goes up 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and up to 100 mil. So you can get pretty much whatever you want, and it's the same with the pink foam. I've never seen 10 mil in the pink foam. It may be out there, I've never looked, I've never needed to, because I've always had this stuff. But this always tends to start at around 15 to 20 mil. But again, if you're using it for like the tutorial I done on walls, blue foam's perfect. You can do it with the pink, but I'd say that when you come to doing your paint job, you need to coat it in some sort of textured paint or maybe PVA, just to fill in all the air holes, because the air holes in the pink are slightly bigger than the ones in the blue. So that's your foam. Onto timber based materials. We'll start with, because we've already mentioned it, balsa wood. It's a softwood. Its primary use is for modelling, basically, because it's not much use for anything else because it's so fragile. Again, this comes in different thicknesses. It's fantastic stuff for modelling. It's easy to use. It's wood, but it's easy to cut. You know, you can use it for anything, mainly for building structures, really. But it does come in handy for a multitude of things. Basing work, it comes in very handy on. I have, again, tons of this stuff. I tend to, when I need something, rather than just go and buy the amount that I need, I'm one of them people that just buys a lot of it, so that I think, right, well, if I need it again, I'm not going to come unstuck and not be able to finish what I started. I'm a bit of a hoarder like that, so I bought a job lot of a load of balsa wood, and I've just got tons of it lying around, which my wife loves me for. So that's your balsa wood. Another really useful material is cork. Now this, I don't think you'll have any problems getting hold of, because this is cork, and it's from a cork tile that you could use, again, B&Q, Homebase, Wix, eBay, wherever you want to get it, very cheap, and it's used for laying on floors as a flooring tile. It's used for making notice boards. It's used in some ceilings. But this stuff, you can break it off with your hands. Now, when you break this off, like so, and you know, if you paint that up grey and dry brush it with a lighter grey, a bit of white, and give it a wash, they will look like boulders, rocks, slabs of stone. I know a lot of people, our friends Shadow and Flame, use cork basing a lot, to fantastic effect. If you want to see how good it can look, take a look at their website and their work. Kevin Dave's work is just, you know, it's probably one of the best that I've seen. So take a look at uses for cork in their bases. As far as modelling goes, you can use it in a very similar way to balsa wood or even foam. The wall tutorial that I've done, you can do the exact same thing with this stuff. And what it does, obviously, just an example to show you this, the wall that I done was using 10mm foam. So looking at it from overhead, it's quite a thick wall, which is fine if it's like a castle ruin or something like that. It's great, it works, it looks like nice thick blocks. In a house, for 28mm size miniatures, it's probably a little bit thick. So if you look at the difference, yeah, can you see that? It'd look a lot better if it was a house ruin done in this stuff, just because when you look down on it, it's not too thick. But yeah, exactly the same techniques, and numerous other things. But this is another essential that I have to hand for my modelling. He's not been in any of the videos yet, but trust me, it's coming. There will be videos where I use a lot of this stuff. So yeah, that's cork. On from there, we will go to your MDF. I use MDF when I can for my bases. This particular thing is going to be the base for a Rohan building. I'm going to build my building on there. I either use this stuff or I use foam card. This stuff is by far much more superior to foam card as a base, because it is solid, it's hard wearing. You know, you're not going to mistreat your items, but it can be mistreated. You can throw it around. With foam card, it bends. If it's in somewhere that's too warm, it can warp and you know, it changes shape. If you're looking after it, it's fine. I tend to use foam card a lot because I have a lot of it. This stuff I don't have so much of. In fact, these ones, because I'm being a bit lazy, I bought in pre-cut to shapes and tapered the edges, just because I've got a lot to do and I haven't got time to do it, basically. So that's your MDF. From foam and materials like that, we'll move on to tools that I'd use. Tools can be anything from the hand tools that you'd use to the glues that you use, which would be a good point to start actually. So we'll start with the glues. First and foremost, I use a PVA. I put my PVA in a dropper bottle just because it's just easy to use. And what I do, I've got a big tub of PVA. Again, I'm a builder. I have a lot of it, and I'm not too sure. I think the PVA I use is a bit too concentrated to use neat for modelling. So what I tend to do is I get one of these bottles, I half fill it with the PVA, and then I top it up with water and I give it a good shake, and that's my modelling PVA. It's nice and thin. It doesn't set in big blobs and ruin the effect that I'm trying to get. And all I do is just every time I'm using it, I give it a shake before I use it, and we're away. So that's my PVA. It's essential PVA. You need that when you're modelling. On from there is super glue. Now, super glue is a substance which, for myself, I'm very used to using. I use it at work a lot. For someone who's not so used to using super glue, you must be very, very careful. This stuff will stick your hands together or stick your skin to whatever material you have hold of or you're in contact with if you've got glue on you, and it will stick it within 10 seconds, less sometimes depending on the strength of the glue. So just be very, very careful. Use it in very small amounts, and just try and keep it away from your hands. That's the only thing I can say. And even though this is a bad example because the lid's off, but the lid's off because I'm in the middle of using it on a project, always keep your lid on, because if it's on your table, you get up to walk out and it knocks over and it spills all over your area or all of the model that you use. It's gone, it's ruined, you'll have to throw it away. You cannot get this stuff off. You can also get a aerosol spray, activator spray for this stuff, which, funnily enough, when I first started modelling, I only use super glue to put my models onto bases and attach arms and stuff like that. I use the activator, and it was actually GBHL James, Mr. James Clark, I think it was him who asked me before anybody else, what's that spray that you're using, and I showed him, and yeah, he was blown away, and I think he uses it now, and a few more people in the community have started to use it. And basically all you do is put the glue on one surface, you spray the other surface and attach them, and it's almost instant. So again, if you use an activator with this stuff, you need to be very careful about getting it on your hands. It could cause you a lot of problems, let's just put it that way. Just be very, very careful. If you're under 16, I wouldn't recommend using super glue. There's other glues, strong glues you can get, and I'll show you one now. Another glue is tacky glue. You can get this anywhere. Craft shops sell it. You can get it on eBay if you don't know any craft shops. And what it basically is, it's a lot like PVA, and I actually think it is a PVA base, but they put something in it that makes it set a lot quicker, and it's a lot more sticky. It's easy to use. You can get it on your hands, and no doubt you will get it on your hands when you use it, and you can just rub your fingers together and it comes off. But it's great for foam. It's great for anything really. It sticks anything. It's really good stuff. So yeah, I suggest getting some tacky glue. There is other types. I use this one because I've always used it and I've never had any problems with it. So I tend to, I'm a bit strange like that. I stick to what I know. So yeah, so get yourself some of that. On the subject of glue, we may as well move on to materials, or should I say items, that I use to hold things in place. The main one being elastic bands. So if you, for instance, sticking a building together, 4 walls, and you're using PVA or the tacky glue, and you need it to be held together, there's a number of things that you can use to do that. You can put elastic bands around it to hold it, and go away and have a cup of tea or have your dinner and come back and take your bands off and it should be stuck. Fantastic for that. Another thing, which I don't know if it'll show up on the camera with them being self-pinned, is pins. Dressmaking pins. basically I think it's pretty obvious what they do. You put two pieces of card together, foam card, press it through to hold it, leave it. When the glue's set, take it out and it's done. A little tip, and I think I might have mentioned it in one of the videos, is when you're pinning things, don't just put the pin in straight. So if you're pinning a wall, for instance, at the bottom of the wall, put your pin in at a 45-degree angle, and at the top, when you're pinning it, pin it at 45, but the opposite 45, so like the pins are working against each other, and that'll stop the item being able to move as much. It just makes life a little bit easier. So that's what I use for holding materials together when what I'm using. Another thing, which has a multitude of uses, this, but Lego. So if you have children or you're a Lego fan yourself and you have some Lego lying around the house, one of the things you can use this for is, again, you're building a house, you need a square corner. If you work to specifics when building modelling terrain, it always helps you in the long run. Things will match up better, things will slot into each other better that you need them to do. So Lego it's very precise. This, for instance, is 90 degrees. I don't even need to put an angle finder on there. I know that's going to be 90 degrees. So you've got 90 degrees there. If you're putting a let's say, for instance, a wall upright on a base, and you need to make sure that you're not leaning one way or the other, put your Lego on, put your glue on the bottom of your wall, stick it on with the Lego there, pin it. Once it's stuck, take your Lego away. You know that's going to be perfectly straight. It's going to be upright. It's going to be plumb, as we say in the building industry. Again, you want perfect square corner. You've got one corner in there, one corner in there. You're going to have a 90-degree corner. There's a lot more uses. I'm not going to go into it because I could literally, the uses that I use it for could be here for an hour telling you what I use Lego for in Lego building. These are things that when you start getting your bits and bobs together and your kit that you use, and you've got a bit of Lego and you need to do something, you'll go, oh, that could be useful for that, and I'll use that for that. And you know, I'm assuming someday I'll watch videos where people are showing me what they use their Lego for, and I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. It's a good idea. So yeah, so that's Lego. Get some. It's very handy. Another thing, probably obvious, sandpaper or a sanding block, especially when you're using foam. You do get rough edges depending what you cut the foam with. You cut it with a knife, you tend to get a nice clean edge. You cut it with a hobby saw, it's a little bit rougher. You can just sand it down. I always tend to sand most of the foam down anyway because it just does give you a neater edge. These spongy foam blocks, you get them off eBay. I think you can get something stupid like 15 or 20 of these, and they're about £3, not each, for like 20. They're well worth it. With it being on a spongy base as well, it's very little chance of you rubbing too hard and ruining some detail because it gives so much. So that's the foam. Other essentials, fairly obvious again, are marking out tools. I use a Sharpie pen, you know, for getting basic, maybe a base size or the basic size of a ruined wall or something like that. So just for marking out really. And then a biro or a draftsman's pencil, which I do have, but I don't have it to hand because I never use it. But a biro tends to do the job for me, just for being more precise on your measurements. And with talking about measurements, a steel ruler. Steel ruler with all your measurements on, centimetres, millimetres, inches, everything that you'll need. Probably one of the most important tools that you can have when building terrain. There is times when you can just sort of wing it and, you know, use your eye just to guess certain things, but generally you need a good foundation to work on if you're going to do that. So things need to be right from the beginning. You can't just stick a lot of things together. It's not going to turn out well. It's not going to look good. And also a steel ruler for when you're cutting. It's a nice straight edge. I know it's straight. I know there's no kinks in it. You could use a plastic ruler, but if you're using sharp blades, you tend to take nicks out of them, and then you're going to have a little nick when you're marking out and things like that, and it's just not good. Get one of these, very cheap. Staples do them, anywhere like that. You could probably pick one up from supermarkets, I'd guess. If you look in the DIY sections, they've probably got these. But yeah, these are essential. You need a nice, good steel ruler. You can get the 6-inch ones, which are dead easy to have, and you can keep them in your pen box or whatever you have on your desk. I tend to use the bigger one just because it means I don't have to have 2 rulers then. I'm used to using these things, measuring implements from work. So that's your steel ruler. From there, I'm talking about blades. We'll move on to our hobby knife. I use an X-Acto knife. Depending who you speak to, people use a different type of blade holding implement. You can get like a proper scalpel blade holder type handle, which some people say are better. I don't have any problems with this whatsoever. So, like I say, when I find something that works, I go with it. You can get different types of blade that you can buy, different shapes to the blade, a rounded finish, a flat finish, a square edge, whatever type you're comfortable with using. This is the most common that I use for cutting. It's an angled edge, which means I can then alter the angle using whatever angle I insert the knife into the material with. But I do have a multitude of different types of blade, but this is the most common one that I use for cutting straight lines, straight edges thing. So that's my blade. Another cutting tool that I'd use would be my trusty snips. You really need these snips, side cutters, whatever you'd want to call them, and I can highly recommend, I'm not saying that you should use one or the other, but these new ones from GW, I've had no problems with whatsoever. I've used GW products and other companies' side cutters in the past, and you tend to get a problem when you're cutting through wire or anything a little bit stronger. You can get like a little nick in the blade. I've had these probably, well, when they came out, I don't know how long they've been out. I'm guessing just over a year, probably about 18 months. I think this range has been out now, and these are the original ones, and they're still very sharp. Not had any problems with them, and these have cut through all sorts of things, lots of metal. So yeah, I recommend a good pair of snips. A hobby saw or a jewellery saw, which is what they were originally intended for. Very fine blade with very fine teeth on. No difference to any other saw, apart from the fact that the teeth run the opposite way to what a normal saw would be. Why that is, I'm not too sure. But every blade that I've bought for my hobby saw, the teeth, I don't know if you can pick that up, run in the opposite direction as a normal DIY woodworking or small hacksaw type would do. Don't know why, couldn't tell you. But basically, when you buy a normal saw, to start your line off, you pull away. So you pull the opposite direction the teeth are facing. With these, you push to start off, so you push. I'm assuming it could be something to do with being able to watch what you're doing, because you're closer and it's a smaller object. It might be because of that. It makes no difference. But yeah, I recommend getting these. You can get smaller blades than this in both directions. You can actually get finer blade. I've not found that I've needed a finer blade than this, but you can do. But these are really cool, especially if you're doing conversions and you're chopping through metal models and you might be doing a head swap, a waist swap, an arm swap. These are perfect. You can use snips, but snips will manipulate the area around the cut, because you're using force to press blades into the metal, and it's a soft metal, so it will move. Whereas with a saw, you're just getting a nice clean cut, and as long as you take your time and you do it properly, you're not going to damage any of the area around where you're cutting. So that's the saw. Another item I use is these little grips. I use these for different types of things. It could be for getting pins out. It could be for holding two things together whilst I'm gluing them. I use it a lot when I'm using wire, the steel wire in my projects, for grabbing and twisting and tightening, etc. But very handy. I do have another pair with a curved edge. So yeah, but I do suggest getting some of these. Very cheap. eBay is your friend there. You can get plenty of them. And we have trusty scissors. Very dirty trusty scissors, but they do the job. Scissors are always handy. Cutting foam card, cutting card, anything really. cork, very good for cutting cork, very good for cutting balsa wood. You can use a knife. If you've got a nice sharp pair of strong scissors, you can do all your cuts in your balsa wood with a scissor, and you know you're getting a nice straight clean cut. Let's have a look. Another thing is your pin vise, which is a hobby drill. It's called a pin vise because ideally it's a vise for holding pin type objects, which just so happen to be, in this case, a drill bit, so you can use it as a hobby drill. It has a loose end which doesn't screw on, screw off, so you have that in your palm, you twist with your fingers and put force on it, and it just means you can keep it balanced when you're drilling. Very handy. Different size drill bits, again very cheap from eBay, and I suggest that you get the different size drill bits for different things that you need to do. And we have different, now again I could be here for an hour showing you the different types of these type of tool that I have, but I think that's going into a different aspect of the hobby. It's more into sculpting and modelling that with a putter, which is what these are ideally for, but I use this as an example. I use that edge, and you can see how fine that goes. It goes fine at the end without actually going sharp. It is rounded off. It doesn't go to a sharp point, but it goes very fine, and it's perfect for scribing into soft materials like balsa wood or foam card, etc. And I tend to use it for doing a wood grain effect on my balsa wood. It's perfect because it doesn't go to a sharp point. It doesn't cut through the wood. It just leaves a nice indentation in the wood, which is perfect for what I want to do. There are other materials, copper, armature, wire, etc., which I use, which come in very handy, but they're not essentials. I think everything that I've shown you is something that, if you want to have successful projects, if you try and work your way getting towards what I've shown you, that's mainly what I use most of. You know, there is multiple different things. There's stuff, different types of wood and sticks and wires and things like that. But things like this, they're not. If you've got the balsa wood, or you've got the MDF, or you've got the foam, these are great, and they save me time, and they come in very handy. But you can make these yourself out of your balsa wood or any soft wood that you have. You know, you can cut them with your scalpel knife and your straight edge, and you can get them. So I've not shown you things like that. But yeah, there's plenty of stuff. I probably will do a more advanced video for this, with the advanced bits and bobs that I've started to use. Again, I'm still quite new to all this, so I'm picking things up myself off other modelers and things like that. So yeah, I will bring out another video, and I'll try and keep everyone up to date on my journey, because you know what, it's something that I never thought I'd be doing, and I'm really enjoying it. It's taking up a lot of my time. It's actually infringing on the spare time that I have in playing games. I need to find that happy medium between the two, modelling and playing. I'll be a happy man when I do that. It seems to be one or the other for me at the minute. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm hoping you guys are enjoying the videos that I'm putting out. So until next time, make sure you like, comment, share on the video. If you've not subscribed, subscribe. I've got lots of cool stuff coming. Yeah, just try and get my videos out there. If you can post links to them on any forums that you're on and stuff like that, it really helps me. And the feedback that I'm getting at the minute, I've said it before, I can't thank you all enough. I'm quite overwhelmed with it, and you know, I'm going to try and get a lot of cool stuff out there for you. I've done quite a bit of the modelling stuff, which I've still got a lot of things in mind that I want to do, but there is other things on the gaming side which are coming soon, so watch this space. But I'll leave you there. It's been half an hour, this video. Didn't expect it to be this long, but I can waffle. It is fairly obvious at that. So I will see you all soon, and yeah, look forward to the next video, and take care. Bye bye.